Hi, everyone. Joining us again here at EBC 10, speaking to the brightest minds of the industry. My bravest. I'm Elena Stein, plus CEO of Reblon's Tech PR agency. And here with me now is Barnali Biswal,
Yes.
Chief Investment Officer at Hilbert Capital. How are you?
Very well, thank you, and pleasure to be here with you.
Good to meet you. Thank you for joining us.
Of course.
How are you enjoying the event so far?
It's wonderful. I mean, definitely feels like people are energized, and I cannot understand how they have this much energy right after, a very busy week in Singapore for many of them, I suppose.
But I assume most of the flights came straight from Singapore.
Yeah, but no, I mean, it feels like people are positive and looking towards more sort of constructive environment as compared to previous couple of years, I suppose. But yeah, I mean, you can also feel that there is a lot of concentration of energy for people who've been in this space for a while, and a lot of kind of for lack of better expression, a lot of kind of noise has been eliminated from the space, which is actually great.
Well, it means the evolution. We're letting some stuff out.
We're very mature. Yeah, slightly.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about Hilbert Capital and your position there?
Yeah, so Hilbert Capital is a crypto-focused asset management firm. We've been around for, I'm not entirely sure if we are the longest track record in the industry, but we must be one of the longest operating firm. It's founded by two Swedish PhDs back in 2017, 2018. The funds were launched later on in 2020 onwards. We are focused on liquid part of the cryptocurrency market. We sit under what is called Hilbert Group. It's the parent company that is also focused on other infrastructure and Web3 related projects. We are largely a quantitative or systematic trading firm. Our products vary from long-only to what we would call orthogonal to BTC returns type of risk and return profile. Yeah, so that's a little bit about us.
So digital assets are a pretty volatile asset to work around with. How do you mitigate this and communicate with institutional investors?
Yeah, so one of the key criteria that a lot of the non-seasoned investors miss is that volatility is not risk. Loss of capital due to volatility is the risk. Volatility, in fact, is the source of return or outsized return in crypto. So our job as one of the money managers in this space is to control for the risk that is stemming from operational as well as counterparty and credit, etc., within the space. And by virtue of that, one can control for the volatility impact on the portfolio. And that actually is why there is such a sort of opportunity or crowdsourced opportunity, frankly, in crypto, where you have an emerging asset class that has, typical of emerging asset classes, high volatility, but not a whole lot of capital chasing after that volatility and thus dampening it and, reducing return potential. There are also, the whole land in crypto tends to shift every few months. Therefore, there are sources of alpha that you might not even have recognized today, but will be available 2, 3, 6 months from now. So I think we view our risk management through that lens, where we control for operating in the space and making the principle remain intact, and that has an implicit impact on the realized volatility of the portfolio.
So let's talk about Web3 a little bit. A lot is happening in that space right now. Anything in particular that catches your eye or attention?
It's such a broad space now, but we are largely a firm that's focused on the tradable part of the digital assets space. And pertaining to that, what's most interesting to me is the DeFi and the DeFi space, the developments within it, and the maturation that we have seen, especially following FTX. And there has been a lot that is being built and have been built and refined very quietly away from the fanfare that you saw previously. And that gives me a lot of confidence as we sit here, we see a lot of pent-up demand for a lot of decentralized finance-related, whether that is lending, whether that is liquidity provision, whether that is your peer-to-peer transaction, removing kind of this centralized exchange risk. All of that have very direct implication for our business. That's an area that I typically try and follow as closely as we can, even though we don't have a live product in this space at the moment. Away from that, we have other business interests that span more sort of the community development within the media space, in the Web3 media space. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention AI and AI crypto and sort of the interplay that we are starting to see. And I think it's a very, very early stages, but one of the more interesting areas to watch.
100%. So that's been extremely insightful. Anything else that you saw here today or that you would like to talk about that we haven't covered yet?
No, but I just want mention that it's impressive how much of the talent has stuck around, and the quality of talent in the space has definitively gotten better than even in the span that I have been in the industry. I'm very excited about that because, there are evangelists and then there are builders.
Right.
And we need both. And now the proportion of those two feels appropriate. So, it's a matter of time for broader adoption and sort of the evolution of technology to a state that takes us from even this sort of, I would say, little bit beyond very early stages to sort of mainstream. But 2024 has definitely been a banner year for that, right? So, I'm really impressed by just the dedication that you see in the space.
Yeah, we've grown up a little bit.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you so much for your time. It's been such a pleasure.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.